Hey, we're back again here on the Gravedigger Report. Jeremiah Graves, aka the Gravedigger, had a special guest today by the name of Frostee Rucker. Played at University of Southern California and also played for the Oakland Raiders. Let's go and add him to the show. Frost, man, what's going on, sir? How's everything going?
Gravy, my guy. I'm good, brother. What's up, man? Top of the morning to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, you're here on the Gravedigger Report, man. I definitely needed to have you on. Had to wear the Rose Bowl ring. We played together at USC. So, nonetheless, man, here you're on the Gravedigger Report. How's everything going for you, man? For the listener, viewers, and followers, we want to know a little bit about your background. We know you played at University of Southern California. We know that you played for the Oakland Raiders as well, too. But just that whole transition, can you speak to the listeners and viewers and followers, regarding?
Yeah. So to start it off, I'm doing well, and thanks for asking. It's a holiday season. Everyone gets to be around their family and friends, and uh, generally that's what it's all about. It's not really about the presents. The presents are being present. So I'm getting my cup full up with that. I'm doing well. Like you said, I did play for the Raiders, and to take it all the way back, I played for the Bengals for 6, the Cleveland Browns for 1, the Cardinals for 5, and then I finished with the Oakland Raiders in 2018, and that was an experience in all itself too. But generally, I'm feeling good. My body feels all right. My mind's fine. Just working hard, diligently, uh, trusting my own process, uh, and found a new team to be on. So that's where I'm at. How about you, man? What's going on with you, the fam? Everyone's good?
Yeah, family's doing good. Everything is great. Can't complain. My daughter is 11 years of age. Like she's looking forward to Christmas. Like you said, it's not about the present, but being present. But those kids are definitely looking for the presents.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You
I'm
know,
chocolate Santa at the house. I'm chocolate Santa, big chocolate Santa. So
exactly, exactly,
I'm running
exactly.
around, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. So far as for your transition, to the NFL and your experience at University of Southern California for the athletes and also for the listeners and viewers and followers, can you speak to that based on why you were at University of Southern California, what took place, and also the preparation of going to the NFL?
Well, like you were there. We had a chance to play on the best assembled team possibly out there in the land, and being able to be on that team, be someone that contributed to the success, that worked very hard. Um, I got the foundation that set me up for a 13-year NFL career.
Right.
I learned how to be myself. I knew how to have fun. I already knew how to have fun. Um, but I knew how to work, and I knew how to go about my business when it came to when I clock in or tap in at SC.
Mhm.
I took those same things and principles that I received to the next level. A lot of people, they don't pay attention to those small things, but for
Right.
me, football has always been my oasis.
Yeah.
So I wasn't the best student growing up. I had ADHD, so I was kind of all over the place. I couldn't focus, but football was always the place where I was getting the, good job and great job. You worked hard and getting
Yeah.
that positive reinforcement into me. And so I
Mhm.
really gravitated to that place, and being in a locker room or being around your teammates. And, I still remember my teammates' names since my first year playing football when I was 7 years old. I can look at a roster, see everyone, and that's how much it stands out to me. That's how much it meant to me.
Right.
And when I got to the professional levels, it was really a complete 180. Everyone is coming from different lights of the universe. I'd like to say everyone's from here. They're different schools, different social classes they came from,
Right.
draft picks, undrafted, didn't matter. Everyone in this mosh of a room, and we all know the common goal. But some people are 10-year veterans with a full family of 4, and there's rookies coming in that are 22, 23, and
Right.
still wet behind their ears and
Yeah.
still thinking they're in college and they can eat whatever they want. Then you watch the veterans. So I seen it all. I'm very thankful that we had the coaches we had at USC, like Coach
Right.
O,
Yep.
right,
Yep.
and the disciplinary actions of that, and Coach Carroll, good leader with energy.
Yeah.
Um, it really made me well-rounded to go to the next level.
Understood, understood. And I know for yourself, you're from Orange County, California. and your community as well, and also for your mother and father. I know that you come from a background that's very supportive,
Absolutely.
and grounded, in your life. And can you speak to that, because that plays a huge role when the family atmosphere is definitely behind you, and also for the community.
Absolutely. So to run it back, both my dad and my mom are from Memphis, Tennessee. So my whole family tree is from Memphis in town. So I grew up in California because my father was in the military. So that's
Got
where he was stationed. So that's where I was born in Orange County. He's a Marine, hoorah, right?
you. Right.
So as a Marine kid, I never lived on the base. My father was out of the Marines by the time I was 2 years old. So I never had to live that style. But I had him as a support and someone that was disciplinary, that, again, made sure I tucked my shirt in. It was yes, sir, yes, ma'am, all those little principles and stuff that I really needed, because it turned out I could use and visualize and verbalize when I got older, because I seen it and I was in that environment. I grew up going to convalescent homes and speaking with elderly people probably
Mhm.
twice a week growing up. I did that for a few years with my dad. And
Okay.
did not understand that at the time.
Right.
To me, I had so many other things to do. But again, that's something that I took with me as I grew older. A coach could talk to me, and I was able to verbalize back in the right manner and be coachable. That's one thing about the Black culture, that if you don't have the right guidance in that culture, you can react the wrong way, and that can actually set you back. You
Right.
know, and I learned how to do that at a very early age, because I was in a melting pot of an area in Orange County called Tustin, California. I always want to give up to my city. But it's a military town, so you get all lights from all around the world that live there. And so the students the kids are from different backgrounds. I went to school with Samoans, Vietnamese, Japanese, Chinese, Mexican, Filipino, Black. So it really spread out, and I was very diverse. So any environment I've ever been in, I was able to adapt and understand the cultures and the respect of what they have. There's different religions and different attributes that come with that. So I've always been very respectful of that, and keen to learn and keen to embrace their environments also.
Understood, understood. So with the support that you had from the community, and also that you support that you had at USC, and also the raising and the rearing that you had during the early adolescent years, it only makes sense for you to be successful, and being an African American male, and being able to move forward as well too. Now, as far as being an athlete at University of Southern California, can you speak to the listener and viewers and followers related to the transition? And you touched on it, earlier, about taking care of your body, eating the right food, proper sleep, proper overall well-being, and also with the raising and interaction. What happens when you go into pro day and thereafter? Because athletes need to know that, and it's so sensitive, and it's a topic that can place you in the right domain at the right time, to where you look up and you say, wow, 5 years passed by, I took this transition, and here I am right now. And for you to be a 13-year NFL vet, played for several teams, and highly known around the NFL, and definitely known, in the collegiate level, the listeners and viewers, and also for the athletes that are coming behind, they need to know these things. So can you speak to that, Frost?
I can. That's a great question. So when you're transitioning and you're playing your final game, obviously my final game at USC was in the Rose Bowl, diving at Ben Schilling's feet, being posterized. So imagine taking that snapshot right there, and then, all right, now the next day, you're turning yourself pro, and you have to put that behind you. And you never had a chance to really sulk in that or get coached up about a technique in that game and stuff. So you just have to let it go and let it be behind you. So immediately what I did is, for one, I stayed in school. That was the only way I could have some money, because of stipend, right? Because I wasn't graduated yet. So I stayed in school and finished my degree that spring as I was into the draft. So with that being said, I stayed around and I worked out with the trainers at school. I didn't go to a fancy place. I didn't do any of that. It was Matt Liner, Reggie Bush, myself, and Dominic Bird. We all stayed back and we worked out there with the trainers that knew us. They knew our bodies, they knew our injuries, they knew everything to get the most out of that, the performance that we had to put for Pro Day. And I felt like that was the best decision that I've made to that point, because you can get distracted going elsewhere. People going down to Florida. I had never been to Florida besides the Orange Bowl. And and now that I've been older, I can see, where the distractions may lay. And and another thing I did, I condensed my circle because it was grind time. I was actually going through a legal matter at the time of some made up stuff that people go through all the time. And I've seen it across ESPN 100 million times. You go through things, and again, you don't have your team to back you up, because right now you're on an island, you're by yourself. So I got my strength from being around my dad, my mom, and the close-knit group that was training. So we trained really hard. We stayed as focused as we could. And again, this is coming from not having any money. I didn't take any money from agents and, live downtown in the big loft or nothing. I lived right around the corner from school. And I was just, the underdog. I was just sitting there like, everyone knows about these other guys. Obviously I could look back and say, oh, I had a name and whatnot, and some type of clout, I guess, some type of celebrity. But then, I was feeling shame on my face. I was feeling like I didn't really want to be around and be popular at the moment. I just wanted to play football and focus on that. And that helped, believe it or not. I wish we had the thing called therapy and counseling and stuff like that. I wish it was like a broad thing that everyone knew, but it wasn't a big deal then. So no one knew how to treat people that go through trauma like instances. So I condensed my circles, my family, my close-knit friends that I grew up with. I trained my tail off and just got ready for the Pro Day. And first things first, I went to the combine.
I remember.
And that was an experience, right? So that was an experience. First of all, coming from the West Coast, flying in, now you're on East Coast time. So your time's off with your sleep. You have to wake up early, get down, you got doctor's appointments. You got all these things that are virtually, I wouldn't say distractions, but they're there to take you off what you're there to do. And obviously the teams need to do their due diligence, and they need to poke at your body, and they need to sit down with you and meet you. So I understand the process, but as an athlete going there that just wants to play football and may not be the biggest, may not be the strongest, may not be the fastest, but I'm a ball player. My mindset there was just that. Not sure if I tested the best that I could test there. They tested me as a defensive lineman and a linebacker. So I had to do all the defensive lineman workouts. I had maybe a 10-minute break, and then I had to go do drops and catch balls and do all these different things with quarterbacks you never threw to you. And, so it's an experience that could give you anxiety. And I'm pretty sure I did have some bit of anxiety going into that and being there in the environment. And the best thing about it, I survived it. Whatever the numbers were, they were. And I had a Pro Day. I had another chance to do better. And I just needed the mark. I just needed to be there, embrace the environment, see how these other athletes perform, see what they're doing, because some of them have been trained up different ways that I wasn't. I wasn't a big rah-rah and some guys. And I came out with Mario Williams. And, so we were in the same group working out. And, I can go through my bags fast and do this and that. I was very athletic. But, him being the number one pick, the potential number one pick, and the way he went about his, and he demanded the attention. He yelled every time he hit the bags, and he did different things that no one coached me to do. Right. I was just smooth and sweet, just doing my thing. Like, pop, 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 I'm in here. I'm doing that, quick feet. And, he had a little bit more purpose behind it. Right. So I got a chance to see that and be like, okay, I don't know who told him. It could have been just him inside. It could have just been him. I'm not even going to do that. But if anything, it wasn't me. I didn't know, because I was still in my shell of, not really wanting to be popular there, not really wanting to, get any attention. Just do the job. Just do your job. Like I said, the environment that I got to see, it's like, okay, so when it got time for my Pro Day, I knew I had to perform, right? I knew all the numbers were condensed. It was only me and Lawan out there doing defensive line stuff, right? So now you gotta make sure you're in shape, right?
Right, right.
Because before you're waiting in a line of maybe 15 people waiting your turn, checking
Yep.
it out, poking your head, what's going on. But now you're up.
On to the next drill. Exactly.
You're up.
Yep, yep,
You
yep. You.
now you got all these scouts looking, and you're thinking, I can't drink too much water because they're like, oh, he tired, or you
Yep,
got to do this, and then now your
yep.
family's there and friends from back home, everyone cheering you on, but it's the biggest job interview you're gonna have. So I credit being able to go to the combine and get in that environment to see it. But what I took from it at my pro day, it's my thing. That's my day to
Right.
perform. That's my day to show these guys my feet and be able to verbalize with these coaches and listen and be coachable and not argue and those things. Because that's what the scouts are looking for. Your mannerisms, right?
Right.
How you stand, how you cheer your teammate on. Because it was just me and Lawan, so we were just a brotherhood out there. Like, I got you,
Yep.
you got me, man. Like, that's what it was. And to this day, you know, Lawan, you know how it is. That's just what it is.
Yeah. Shout out
And
to Milan, man. Too.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out
old
to him.
Desperado, shout out. But that's what it was. And again, it wasn't a survival day. That was a day that was for me. And I
Right.
went out there, and for me, I did my thing, you know, because I was able to just perform. And I use
Exactly.
that word perform a lot because, like I said, in the combine, I was surviving. I was
Okay.
there just to get the numbers and get out of there, you
Right.
know, because I had anxiety the whole time. So when we get back to school, that was my day. It was in the sunshine. It was on Howard Jones.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
I know every blade of grass on here,
Yeah.
right? And that's
Exactly.
that was my approach, though. You know,
Yeah.
like, this is
Yeah.
my room. They're here for me.
So
At the
Frost,
combine, they're here for everyone else.
exactly. So for athletes as of right now that are, we're in December, they're going to get ready for their bowl games, and what can you say to them as of right now, that individuals that are, they're declaring for, the NFL draft, they're going to be speaking to scouts, they're going to be doing interviews such as this, so verbalizing their athletic ability and also performing is also going to be, a key factor, and being able to implement that all in the same. What can you say to them? Because they need to know this, especially coming from D2, D3. These are all Americans. You played in the NFL. We spoke about it, to where it's a different life. You have veterans, and then you have rookies,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have individuals that are from, Power 5 schools. Then you have a guy that is from, a D3 school or NIA. And
Right.
it's like, okay. And like you stated, no one coached me to go through the bags with the exertion of, putting that energy out there, and sometimes that does cause, anxiety, and it will cause a barrier, a mental barrier. And perhaps it might cause, a trigger to where an individual might not be able to land the draft pick he wants to be in. So as far as for performance, and also
Mm-hmm.
far as for due diligence from a holistic standpoint, can you speak to those athletes about that, as far as just the preparation? Because you spoke about yours, but athletes that are going into the bowl game,
Right.
athletes that are going into their pro day, what is the lookout for that? What is the
So,
layout?
for one, I would tell these guys, obviously, everyone's paying attention to your social media. I'm going to start there. So, your social media. Some people, this is a different day and age, right? So,
Right.
social media is actually cool now. Back in the day, it was like, the less you say, don't press in, don't do that. But now this is a whole business. People are putting themselves out there to get more endorsements, get more money. So, it's a
Right.
different frame of mind. I was less is better. The less I'm sharing, all they're focused on is football. But nowadays, it's different. So as far as advice in that realm, I couldn't tell you, because even as I aged in the NFL, I still seen things differently. Even as the game changed from double days to just single day practices and things like that, where I had to go through double days,
Right. Yeah.
I
Yep.
had to remind myself that I can't call these kids soft. That's just what the rule change did. And now I had to tell them, you don't have to save anything. You got 2.5 hours to just go hard at this practice. Before, when you had double days, you had to preserve yourself.
Exactly. Woo.
Right?
Yeah, you did.
So it's just growth. But what I can tell these young cats outside of social media, just be careful of saying the wrong thing, because that travels with them. When you press send, it doesn't go away. When it comes to focusing, take out the liquor, put down the weed for a second. I'm not going to tell you forever, whatever you do, but put it down and focus. If you're eating right already, since a lot of people, the meal plans have gotten better around the country. I can't speak for everyone, but watching on socials and seeing people's sports complexes grow and all over the country. So I'm pretty sure your diet's like that. It's really good. You have to maintain that, and that's a hard thing too. If you're not taking money from an agent, how do you maintain that? Because if you're not taking money from an agent, you're back on your mom's wallet and checkbook, and that may not be the business like it was for me. We had no money. So you got to be cautious of that, of what you're putting the fuel in your body. And outside of that, it's what's going on up here too. I would say sharpen your skills, as many reps as you can get hitting the bags, as many reps as you can get going over old plays and techniques and understanding the definition between a 5 technique, a 2-eye, a 1 technique, a tilt, how everyone has different language, and being able to say, okay, a tilt is a 1 technique and I have to equal those. It's how you write your notes, right? So you have to study your stuff, right? And that's one thing that I think as you grow older and the transition from being a bro to a pro is how you take your notes and how you learn. Not everyone learns the same, but what you write down is how you're going to read it. A coach may speak, write the note down, right? In this day and age, you got so much technology, you can record it probably, right? And go back to it. Probably meetings are probably recorded and you can watch them on the Zoom probably, right? There's so much different technology than what we had, but the more you do and the more you focus on your craft, the better it's going to be. And that's what I can say. You're in this island before you get drafted, before you take that next step of the fear of the unknown. What team is it going to be? What am I going to buy? What am I going to do this and that? And just focus. I had to do that in my own career. Okay. Got drafted 3rd round, did my thing for 6 years, signed 2 contracts with the Bengals, and then I signed a 5-year contract, the biggest one of my life. I was so excited, right? I was so excited. It was that, I've been working on this since I was 7 years old. I'm here. I got some bread.
Exactly.
Took care of the folks, did my thing. But then after that 1 year, I got cut from that big contract. And that was the first time my whole entire life I got cut from a team.
Right.
And it was the Cleveland Browns. So at the same time, I'm like, I'm not good enough to play for the Cleveland Browns.
Exactly.
I started all 16 games. We only won 4 of them, but I was out there every game. I had better stats than I came in, but I got fired. Yeah. So it was the most humbling thing for me to go out there and play all 16 games, not be in the injury report every week of, not showing up, not doing this, wasn't getting fined, wasn't nothing. They sold the team, had a new coach, and he just wiped out the new owner, wiped out the general manager, the president, and brought his own people. So my services were no longer needed. Humbling, right?
Yeah, they're very humble experience.
That's very humble.
It definitely humble experience. And there, you were able to go to Arizona, correct?
Yeah. So I ended up. I was in my feelings. I had an ego at the time because I got cut for the first time in my life. So I was in my feelings, and this is where people end up retiring and quitting, because it's like, all right, I just made this amount of money. I'm finally here on this threshold, and now people are not offering that again. Now you're back to maybe, I don't know if you can do it, even though you have the career starts, you have all this. It's like, what? So I had to literally sit down with my dad and talk about these things. And, shout out to Pops. So thankful I have one.
Shout out.
We talked about it. He said, son, remember, the whole objective here was to play in the NFL. It was never about a dollar amount.
Exactly.
And I took that with me. It was never about a dollar amount. It was about, now at that point, I changed my direction. It was about making sure my 401k was getting piled up. I was making sure I was getting my severance and all these different things. It became the business part of it then, right? It wasn't technically the money on the front end. It was the back end that I was going for. So I was able to continue to play, not feel disrespected when my team was trying to give me peanuts, but pay somebody else the bag. And I just stayed in my lane, because what was for me is for me. you spoke on it earlier. It's like everyone has like a vision. Oh, I'm gonna get drafted by this or that, or I get this much money. Hey, what's for you is for you. You know.
Exactly.
I heard all projections. I could have went first. I could have went second. Jeff Bill Franklin, that just our defensive line coach, just signed with the Bucks. I'm
Yep.
talking to him. He's like, if it ain't the first, it's the second. Maybe. Who knows? All these things, and it ended up being the third round, right?
Yeah.
I'm very, very, very thankful and grateful for that opportunity. But getting my hopes up off something like that, it wasn't conducive to me, right?
Exactly. It's definitely a mental shift, and also a body roller coaster, experience as well too. Now, during that transition of the USC,
Okay.
the pro day, and also with the NFL as well, I know that you had support as far as with coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And coaches that became mentors, father figures, on and off the field, individuals that you still speak to this day.
Absolutely.
And we know that sometimes we have coaches that play a different part. That is the opposite of it. They come in and they're like, hey, this is my job. The relationship is going to be very different. And individuals that believe in you, individuals that are there just for the job. Can you speak to that? Because sometimes we have athletes, we have athletes that that just transfer from schools. We have athletes that say, hey, you know what, I wasn't able to play great because of my coach, or I wasn't able to, or I'm able to be where I'm at because of my coach. Like an individual, just like Coach Odron from USC, and able to transfer that we were at when he went to LSU. So, can you speak to that as well?
Yeah, another great question, Gravy. Speaking on that, coaches they're around you more than your parents are around you. Once you get to that level at college, they are the figure that you're looking up to. You take your direction from there. So I was very fortunate to have Ed Ordron as my defensive line coach, and the way he goes about his business, it's all ball. So you cannot be distracted off anything else. And for kids that are 17, 18, 19, I think it's very, very important to have people that are on your side trying to get you to where you want to be. Coach O also reminded everyone about if you don't do what I say, you're going to be bagging groceries.
Yeah.
And remember that? And as we laughed about it, it was real, because
it was real.
It was really real, because those are the jobs that are out there. And not even joking about someone having that profession, but the reality of it, if you had no degree, all you did was graduate high school at that point, if you're not listening and you're back on the streets, what are you going to do?
Exactly. What are you going to do?
And he would cut you right there, but it was the truth. So that impacted me, because I was already flat broke. I couldn't go backwards. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I had to really think about that. And so coaches, again, the coaching culture, the way they talk to you, it's not always the best, but sometimes you can't listen to how they say it. You have to listen to what they're saying. I know the frustration comes out because their job's on the line too. As I got older and I talked to coaches and stuff, I understand the other side of it, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you guys are tied up. Well, you got your contract, you got family too. You guys are living out of a box, moving from state to state, and that's not always a good thing for a family unit either.
It's not.
So the pressure of that and being all in together and winning something, it means a lot. But a lot of kids, again, I think my upbringing helped me deal with a Coach O. Right?
There you go. Exactly. Yeah,
my upbringing helped me deal with that.
Yep. I come from a military family. Father, brother, my other brother as well too, though. So just having that structure, and someone like Coach O, who brings that anxiety, healthy anxiety, and a good stressor of reality. A good stressor of reality to inform you, hey, you are 17, 18, and if you don't, take lessons here, perhaps you are going to be bagging groceries, which is not a bad job, in America. However, to do that, there's other opportunities. How about
there you go? And if you wanted ball to be it, you should probably listen. And I've had coaches like that, and thankful that the D-line position, you have to have a guy like that for a position. You have to. So I had from got drafted, went to Cincinnati at Jay Hayes. Great guy. He's coaching in the XFL now with his brother John. Great guy, phenomenal. His parents were background, they were teachers, so he was very educational when I was in Cincinnati. Wrote things out, spoke to us in the manner, made us take diligent notes. I already knew how, but he's an educator from his family, so it was a little bit different read to us, right? Reading things, and not articles of ESPN, but reading things that made us open our minds up,
Exactly.
and we started meetings off like that before we even dove into football. Sometimes it was like, oh, I read this, let me read it to you guys. That stuff right there is make you grow up like a man and hear something else that you may not have heard before, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then I went from there. I had Dwayne Board. He was a D-line coach with Cleveland, played in the NFL for 10 plus years. Great guy, more quiet, right? More, I came in polished, so he didn't have a lot to say to me, but he still coached, right? So, and then from there, I had Brinson Buckner, which is by far my favorite coach. He's now the defensive line coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was in the NFL while I was in the NFL. He was older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I think he's probably 4 or 5 years older than me. So when I got to Arizona, we were really on the same wave, kind of, right? We were in the league at the same time. All these other guys, maybe not, but us. And I gravitated to his coaching style. He still wore Jordans. He
Exactly.
He listened to Jay-Z. He listened, he was playing music in our room when we walked in that we already knew. There you go. So the bond was there, and now it was a brotherhood, like for real, right?
Yeah.
And I was playing outside defensive end my whole career, and when I got to Arizona, I had to play inside, so I moved to D tackle, and it's a whole nother ball game. And this is something I can speak to these young cats out here. When you get the adversity, or they want you to switch a position.
There we go.
Can you do it?
Can you do it?
Will you do it? Coach me. Exactly. I'm here to play football. And especially at that rate, when it's your job and there's a paycheck behind it, and you had already retired your mom, and you already did what you were supposed to do, and the bills are still going to be there, I can play any position because I was playing in position. I played on the field goal team. I played on kickoff return. I played on punt. I did every single thing to make sure I was on that team.
Exactly. There
you know what I'm saying? Every single thing.
Yeah.
And that right there, that's when coaches gravitate towards you. Like, here's a guy that, does he have to be on our field goal team? Probably not. We could put somebody else in there. But he was the first one to step in the line to play tight end, which is the worst position on the field goal team because you just get blown up all the way to the. But if you're willing to sacrifice like that and stand up to do it and not run from that, we want you on this team. Exactly. And so I believe I made rosters early in my career strictly off being a guy that would do whatever it takes to be on that team.
You know what, though, that just speaks volumes, of who you are, Frostee, and just the overall raising. There's two topics, that I want to bring up, that are very, out in the atmosphere as of right now. And we actually went through it a little bit, at USC, and the transition, into now. One is the NIL. And how do you feel about, the overall aspect of the NIL? Athletes being able to receive funding while they are playing, while they are amateurs. And also, we see that HBCU athletes and HBCUs are definitely, taking off, shout out to the HBCUs as well, too. How do you feel about that? Because everyone needs to have their hands, in that pot when it comes to funding related to being an amateur and also playing sports. We know how it is as being an athlete to where, you're on mom and dad's, banking and checkbook, and you don't really have that funds to go out and entertain and to get the Jordans and things such as that. And we see a lot of mom and pop stores at these HBCUs are starting to be able to be a resource, and also junior college players as well too. So what is your thoughts and passion regarding that?
Well, I like the opportunity these kids have. I think Personally, I think a lot more stuff needs to be defined, but I
Right.
love where it's going. Everything has to start somewhere, right? I think
Right.
it's well past due because athletes get shamed for eating a steak or cutting in line somewhere
Yeah.
or getting a car ride, and we get shamed and your career's over. You get blasted on ESPN before NIL for these little things, tedious things, right? And it
Right.
could derail your whole career because you're an adolescent, your mind's not fully developed then, and you may be hungry, and that burger may be the only thing that you can have. And the point that was being directed at the athletes that you still can't do it,
Right.
and now for the likeness to be able to pack a stadium and your jerseys being sold and your pictures and these and all these things, and you have no place to have any of that, and now you can. It's a huge thing. I think a lot of these institutions are guiding their young athletes to do proper with their money.
Right.
And the things that I would say of these kids that are maybe out there floating and they're getting some NIL money, put it towards a residence, buy something,
Yeah.
buy
Exactly.
something.
Yeah.
If your parents don't own a home, buy the house because there's
Yeah.
no guarantee at the next level if you get there that you're going to be fortunate enough to do it. You may make
Exactly.
more money in NIL.
Exactly. Yep. And that's my thoughts that you might make more money in NIL
Yeah,
based on, the uncertainty of going to the next level and getting that contract that you received in your 5th year.
yeah.
So,
And I'd like to make a note with saying that. This is the in our culture, in our situation, financial literacy. So the first time you actually get a chance to have some money, right? Usually happens when they get drafted or something like that. But if you can do that while you're in college, you're also not educating yourself, you're educating your parents to what's coming up and what's going on around you because they have to vet the financial advisors that are coming to meet. They have to vet, and the parents are getting put through these classes too
right.
because again, the kid may start learning new things, but the parents may not be learning new things and spending habits and stuff. And that's why, as a race, we're where we are is because we have bad spending habits. But if we
Exactly.
can speed that process up, and when these kids make it to the pros, they don't have to buy a Benz. They don't have to buy any of that because they're completely comfortable in driving their truck that they had. They don't
Exactly.
care, right? And
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
that's the way we look at other cultures because they have guidance. They have parents that are in this position, so money's not a big deal. So they don't even care to spend it. They don't have to have a chain.
Yeah. Exactly. You don't have to have a chain. He said, but if you can, you can.
Yeah, right. But
Yeah.
again, it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's just a different lens,
Yeah.
seeing different cultures and how they are. And when we look at and I don't necessarily nitpick what we have done in our culture instead of like try to advocate for better.
Right.
We know we have bad spending habits and things, and the education level because these are generations and generations of never having anything.
Yeah.
You're that one.
Yeah, you're right, Frosty. So financial literacy and also community reinvestment, it definitely plays a pivotal role for the foundation, for the common bond, for us to socialize and also for us to, be who we want to be. And we
Yeah,
have to have that legacy. That legacy comes from, the parental guidance for us to, move forward and for us to be better adults. Going forward and lastly, we see that HBCUs are definitely taking off as of right now. We've seen Deion Sanders, go to Jackson State. He did very well there. Was able to go, to the bowl game and make noise there and land a spot in Colorado. How do you feel about HBCUs? You played with players who played at HBCUs in the NFL.
I have.
And also too, Frosty, you also played with NFL players that did not go to Power 5 schools.
Correct.
So with that being stated, you have athletes that have a different mindset regarding finances. When we were at USC, we were, very taken care of. We were able to eat steak sometimes, well, more than sometimes, based on, the training table and things like that. But athletes that are coming from HBCUs, athletes that are coming from various schools that transfer athletes that took the junior college route, such as I did. I know that they look at things totally different, and especially for HBCU athletes, they look at things just totally different. Other than when you played at USC, Notre Dame, Texas,
Right.
Florida, you're on ESPN, and with you being a 13-year vet, can you speak to that for the listeners and viewers and followers? Because
Yeah.
that definitely needs to be spoken about.
For one, growing up in California, I just wanted to say this: there wasn't a lot of talk of HBCUs, so all I seen was UCLA and USC, right? And Pac-10 then schools. So I didn't know anything about it, right? But I think now, to fast forward, I think HBCUs are on the rise. I think what Dion did, and now Eddie George is there, Hugh Jackson is there. You're getting these qualified people to go in there and lead these men that want to play at the next level, getting the opportunity, because now there's scouts coming around. Now there's people in your face, right? And now people are interested in what you do. So I think more praise needs to go into Dion of what he did to start that trend to go there and really shake things up, because he did.
Yeah, he did.
All the way. And now HBCUs know how to go after the sponsors, and now they're going to know how to go after alumni and to pay dues and pay into the program and do things like that. This is Dion set the trend of, hey, even if you can hear all this chatter that someone did this or someone did that, and Dion was putting his own money up, which is probably true. I can't speak negatively about where he was, because I don't know specifically if all those things are true, bad. But I
look
can
at the
say,
positivity.
What was that?
I said, look at the positivity. It didn't matter.
That's where I'm at. I'm looking at the positivity, the impact that this man had created.
Right.
To be able to get the recruits to come in there and be in that environment. Like when I have a book right here by Anton Bethea, right? And this is one of, he went to a Division II school. I think he went to, he went to Howard. I know it. Yeah, he went to Howard. So Bethea went to Howard, and I read the book. It's a very good book, Bet on Yourself. One more time, Bet on Yourself by Anton Bethea. But, having conversations with these guys that went to HBCUs and understanding, about yourself.
Exactly.
Like we were on the football team and we had our own clique and things like that, the brotherhood, and that was all good. I can't say anything about it. I love everyone, and everyone watching this, all the fellas, you know how I feel. I'm 10 toes down for you guys.
Exactly.
But knowing more about your culture and where you're from and being around in that environment, the music, the people. Oh, I didn't know this person went there. I didn't know this person started this, and just knowing the background, because again, education is portrayed in one specific way.
Right.
And if you don't, you're not brought up in that environment to know all the engineers that are Black, or the creators, and not even just music, but everything, stoplights and this, that, and there's so many good things that we've done positive besides building America. You learn at HBCUs.
Yeah, you do.
And that Greek life is serious.
It is. Right? It is. Yeah, it is. It is. It is, Frosty, and I can definitely attest to that. Going to being at USC and going to Albany State. Shout out to Albany State Rams. And just the whole circumference of just being at a HBCU, I found a different, Gravedigger. I found a different Jeremiah. Because the reality of just knowing about yourself in depth and having African American, professional counselors, and just being in that atmosphere. And being some of them, majority of them are in the South, but just being, in that atmosphere and seeing strong African American males teach you from an educational standpoint, it allowed me to lead from the front. It allowed me to value who I want to be and where I want to go. And I knew that there were individuals that played a role as far as just being a father figure, a mentor, and also an individual that I can always stay in contact during hard times. So it was kind of like a coach that was off the field, but in various aspects and domains of my life that I definitely needed at that time. And like you said, I'm 10 toes down as well too. And for the players, at USC, and also for the Albany State, and also from junior college, they already know. But I would say throughout my career, being at Albany State really affected me from preparation, just for life. USC, was great time. Football, the party life is great as well too. Got to meet individuals such as yourself who that I look up to, because Frost, you were the guy. Everybody know Iceman, Snowman. We already know what it is, So yeah, Frost, I definitely want to go ahead and conclude there, man. I definitely want to have you back on the Gravedigger Report, because I know you're doing special things in the community with your nonprofit, and just before we conclude, can you speak about that? Because I know you're doing great things, man. I know you were able to transition. Out of the NFL, and it's so great to hear and see, your transition, you're blossoming, and I definitely want to give you your flowers as well.
Thank you.
I sit back, and I see from social media, and I'm like, wow, man, I'm very proud of this guy. I've seen the transition from USC, also from the pro day. We kicked it there, while we at USC, and then you were able to go to the NFL, and you have a great son, you have a great family, you always had that passion. But I also believe that, liking stories are one. Also liking reels or another, and commenting is subjective, but also giving individuals their flowers, and also from men to men, and also African American men. I want to give you your flowers on on this show, man, because you deserve it, Frost.
Love you, man. And I love you for that, man. That means a lot to me, to even have an impact in your life. I'm a little older than you, so I couldn't see through your lens. So I hope I wasn't doing things that diverted you to do anything negatively. Hopefully it was all positive. What I do with my nonprofit, for one, I have a nonprofit called Frostee's Challenge. And so what we generally do is we do backpack drives before school. We do canned food drives. And I've done this across my career in different areas. And I thought when I retired, I was like, I've done all this good stuff in all these different areas and cities and stuff. I want to do it at home. I think it's time to do it at home. So I ended up getting a place at home as I retired. And right when I retired, the first year, it was a blur, kind of. That was the first year I played football 35 straight years. So 7 to 30, 35, or 28 straight years, 7 to 30, 35, 28 straight years. And for the first time, I had a chance to be still and see around and understand who I am outside of ball, and what am I going to do? What's my next level? And then COVID hit the following year.
Right.
So I actually got into, I started a program called the Stay Ready Football Program, where everyone had these mandates for masks, and you couldn't be around people, and the kids couldn't go to school. And I just knew it was terrible for the kids to be trapped in the house like that, and not being able to be around their peers, right? That was the first time. Obviously, we're older, so we had more experience with that, and we'd probably freak out if we were in high school or something and that happened. But when you have adolescent children, they've only been in school a year or two, they're at home with their parents. Now their parents are stressing because they have to work and parent at the same time. These kids are going crazy. So I started a program where we went out on the field and with plenty of space, and we just trained them. I went out there personally and trained these kids with foot ladders and speed bags and things like that, just to get that energy out and get them going. And let them know, because different states had different rules with sports, and it was just all different all over the place in America. So within my guidelines of what I could do in Orange County, California, I got the kids moving. And from that, it propelled into, I do summer camps now, week-long summer camps with the city of Tustin, which again means a lot to me, because I've been all over the place, did all these different events, and now I'm doing them at home, right? And so I work with the city of Tustin, and we put on an annual football camp, summer camp, which we're going to extend this year and do a multi-sport one. So we're going to have a football one and a multi-sport camp. So shout out to Tustin Parks and Recs. And now I'm in 2 elementary schools, and we do after-school program. So now we're, a part of our program is educational too. So we make these kids speak in front of their peers, recite things, read, all these things, these skills that we needed, that we maybe we were big and strong, but we didn't know how to do that. Right?
Exactly.
I didn't know how to do that, but I could do this other stuff, right? So I want to teach these kids these skills. And what I'm doing with these after school programs, these kids aren't technically in a sport, but now they get to try different sports, and now they're gravitating to sports. And you know what sports can do.
Yeah.
You know what it can do. And so that's it's more of getting to those kids that their parents may be from a different country, they don't speak the same language, they don't know anything about basketball, they don't know anything about tennis, they don't know anything about that. But now they have tennis rackets at school, and on Monday and Wednesday they're playing tennis, and the next week they're playing a different sport, and now it's like, oh, there's other things for me. I don't have to just do the bare minimum.
Exactly.
Let's go to school and be in the line that way. So now these kids are gravitating, they're signing up. And so another thing what my nonprofit does is we pay for the sign-up fees, right? We have duffel bags that we give the kids that, the kids that have free lunch, like I grew up, didn't have no money. So we put socks, shoes, deodorant, laundry detergent.
There we go.
Different things that you don't know what these people are going through, but I'm pretty sure that laundry detergent got used.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? So it's the things that I know that I went through that I know that I can provide and help and foster for these other kids. And that's what this is all about. So like I said, I have 2 after-school programs. We do summer camps. I do Zooms and talk to kids if the parents can't get through them. It's just another conversation about something, and that's my life's work for me. That and being a father. Everything else is just part of it, but that is the staples in my life.
That's great, Frostee. Just the overall wraparound development, for the children and also for the community, reinvestment. Hats off to you, man, and also for the 2 nonprofits. So in conclusion, Frostee, you're always welcome on the Gravedigger Report, man. We'll definitely be in contact. Perhaps next year, when you have your camp, the Gravedigger Report will come out, and participate, and also get some footage as well too.
Absolutely, man. I'd love that, man. And happy holidays to everyone out there. Whatever you're celebrating, make sure you're doing it with love and kindness in your heart. This is a time for healing and getting together. So be grateful for every single thing you got. Believe it or not, someone probably has it worse than you when you're thinking you're at the bottom. Keep your chin up, chest out, be confident in yourself, and you got this.
Definitely. Appreciate it, Frostee. Take it easy, sir.
All love, brother.
All right, now. There we go with another conclusion with the Gravedigger Report. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Definitely stay back for the next episode. And we always say that with goals, processes, you'll be able to achieve the top. Thanks for watching Gravedigger Report.